we're here on 5 counts, Mr. Watson.
He had his own personal employees threaten her. He had his own personal employees oversee her.
He's going to be sent to jail for at least 10, perhaps 15, 20 years. This is horrendous. Is there any man or woman, for that matter, that doesn't believe that Wes Watson should be imprisoned for the rest of his life? Coach Greg, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the police report of what actually transpired with Wes Watson versus his former fiancée. And it's 3 times worse than I thought, like way worse than I thought. And so without question, this is the last we're ever going to see of Wes Watson. There is no way that he's going to be able to get out of this. He's going to be sent to jail for at least 10, perhaps 15, 20 years. This is horrendous. I can't believe how bad it actually got. And so wait till you see this shit.
That woman beating piece of shit was charged with 5 felonies in the state of Florida for beating the shit out of a girl like the coward we all know he is. And the next day, he was in court thinking he's going to get out on bail, $115,000, right? Well, what happened was, the piece of shit, I think he paid it, thinking he's going to get out.
And so what I don't understand is how you can even remotely have a chance of getting out on bail. $115,000, you pay it and you're out on bail. Now, if he wasn't already out on bail from the 7-foot monster incident, then perhaps they would have let him out. And I'm thinking, what kind of society do we live in where a monster can commit horrendous crimes, threaten the lives of not one, but multiple people, and to be allowed to get out of jail and walk free? This is not tax evasion. This is threatening the life of several individuals.
Are you guys ready to hear what this piece of shit did to this girl? It's long.
Trust me, you're not ready, and it's far worse than you're going to expect.
The defendant, which is Peggy, began yelling at the victim, explaining he paid for her boob job, that she was disrespectful for having her boobs out, and that those are my boobs, also accusing her of cheating.
And so imagine thinking that just because you financed a girl's breast augmentation surgery, that you now own them and that she cannot do anything with them unless she has his approval. At best, you could say you're renting her, and when she's not with you, technically, she can do whatever she wants. And so imagine being so mad at your fiancé for going to a basketball game with her friend, who is, of course, a girl, that you're grabbing her by the neck forcefully.
The defendant freaked out and, against her will, forcefully grabbed her by the neck and told her, "You stupid little bitch, that's where you were?"
I mean, already that would be enough. If that ever happens to you, there's the door. The relationship's over. You don't continue this. You don't think, oh, he just loves me too much. No, you walk away.
He continued to push, grab her by her hair, and slam her on the floor. The defendant then dragged the victim by her hair on the floor and later pinned her up against the kitchen table. He pushed and grabbed, manhandling the victim's face, causing a scratch to the victim's right cheek.
He grabs her hair, throws her to the floor, presses her face against the table, causes a gash that bleeds profusely, and yells out of how he's going to end her as well as her family. And it get worse.
She yelled, "Help me, get him off of me." Then they state there was 2 or 3 other witnesses who were present inside the residence.
Now, she yells and screams for help. There are 2 other men inside the room. They do not help her. They just stand there and watch and do nothing. They don't go for help. They don't leave the house. Remember, perhaps those men, perhaps they're also scared of Wes. They don't know what to do. They could have easily grabbed a phone, called 911, said there's a crazy lunatic here. He's grabbed a female. He's hurting her. I don't know what to do. Send help. Send backup. Send the entire police force. Nope. They help him out.
It should be noted the victim is approximately 5'1" and weighs 125 pounds, while the defendant is 6'1" and weighs 245 pounds.
How in the hell did they say that Wes Watson is 6'1" and 245 pounds? I mean, did Wes Watson convince his fiancée that that was his height and his weight and that she doesn't understand? I mean, come on. He's 5'8". He probably doesn't even weigh 190 pounds.
The defendant then grabbed her with his right hand by her hair and then slammed her head down into the kitchen table. This mother took her head and put it on the table. This caused the victim to sustain a cut to her forehead, which began bleeding profusely. The victim advised she was in a state of shock when she believed she had momentarily blacked out and lost consciousness.
And why do you think he takes her phone? He doesn't want her to have any way of contacting the police, for asking friends for help to come rescue her. He's trying to control her and prevent her from getting help, aka taking her starts with an H and ends with an idge, and if you're good at English, you'll figure it out.
Told her he would grab a bottle and slash it across her face, break it on her head, and then told her he would kick her face in.
And so imagine, this is the kind of guy that even with men who are working for him, he'll just kick them for no reason, be like, get back to work, you lazy piece of shit. Like, what kind of man is this? Imagine working for this man.
I've spoken to people that have worked for him. I'm not going to mention any names. And they told me stories. They'd be sitting there, they're working, right, minding their own business. And he would just come and out of nowhere, just kick them and be like, get to work, you piece of shit, asshole. So this guy's a crazy.
He then tries to drug her by forcing her to consume alcohol.
Drink, 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 while forcefully pouring alcohol down her throat.
I mean, could it get any worse? This is just a nightmare. Imagine being in her shoes. He then tells Jose, who's working for him, clean her up. He then uses glue to seal the cut. I mean, imagine working for someone and actually doing this and not calling the police. Like, you might be thinking, it's a paycheck, I gotta do this, but there's lines you don't cross. And when you witness such a horrendous act, you gotta be thinking, it isn't worth it. I can't stand by this. You have to, at some point, be a man and say enough is enough and do something about it.
Had his friend look through her text messages, photos, social media to make sure she is not cheating. The unidentified friend began instigating the defendant and his physical actions towards the victim.
If you need to look through your girlfriend, your fiance's phone, the relationship's over already. What is the point? You're looking through the phone, and let's say she is cheating. Well, the relationship's over. But the fact that you're thinking that she is, the fact that you go so far as to grab her phone, steal it from her, and start looking through text messages, relationship's also over. Not to mention, how many weeks have you guys even been dating? This is ridiculous. We've already shown that the engagement ring was rented. I mean, did he actually say, hey, babe, I bought you this ring, and meanwhile he rented it? And so he's thinking, what am I supposed to do now? I need the ring back.
The third witness was the defendant's security guard, who told the victim to take accountability for her actions of wearing a shirt which exposed her breasts. So this asshole security guard is sitting there and telling her she shouldn't be going out.
Imagine telling her it's your fault. This is known as gaslighting. It's your fault. I mean, he just bought you those breasts, and you have them clearly into the stratosphere, shined up, glistening. And so what do you expect? Of course you deserved it. You were asking for it. That's called gaslighting. It isn't true, but yet people, oftentimes men, oftentimes women, both people do this. They gaslight somebody so much that they actually begin to think that it is in fact their fault, of which, of course, it isn't.
The defendant did not allow the victim to utilize her cell phone or to call anyone. The victim was forced by the defendant to tell her cousin she got the scratch on her cheek from derma peeling.
And so imagine sitting there and telling the person that you are not letting out, you need to text this to this person, text this to that person, tell them that you're tired, you're going to bed, that you're good, no problem, don't worry about me.
Further, the defendant told her if the police were to have arrived at the residence, she needed to tell police she slipped on the rug at the residence.
And so can you see why when police listen to statements of females who have been victims of AB, that they don't just assume that what they're saying is the truth? Oftentimes, they are coerced, they are told, forced, convinced that they have to say said story in order to not have any future problems. And so just because somebody doesn't say something doesn't mean something never happened.
So about not letting her leave, listen, this sick did it with his employees too. Like the people that worked with him, they told me they weren't allowed to leave. house.
You work for me. You can't leave. I don't trust you. You might say something. You can't leave. Look at you. I need to wait several days so that the marks, the bruising and stuff subside so that there is no actual proof that any of this has happened.
The defendant continued to tell the victim she could not leave because her face was messed up, and you have to stay here for more days until your face heals up. If she went home, her parents would call the police on him, and I can't go to jail. The defendant further stated, if I go to jail, something bad is going to happen to you, all your friends, and your family.
You can't go to the police. You can't say anything because you, your friends, your family, something, I won't say what, bad, going to happen. And so are you with me in that the other men who were involved in this should be also charged as accomplices to this act? I mean, it takes more than one to tango. If they're helping prevent her from leaving the house, they're standing at the door guarding her, preventing her, convincing her not to leave, then they also need to go to jail. And so a list of the injuries. Cut on forehead, 2 centimeters. Red scratch, right cheek, 1 centimeter. Bruise either side of the neck, 2 to 3 centimeters. Bruise on right knee, 2 centimeters. Bruise on right shin, 2 centimeters. Bruise on inner right knee, 3 centimeters. Bruise on inner left knee, 1 centimeter. Bruise on the calf, 3 centimeters. Multiple bruises throughout the body. And it went on for 2 days. 2 days of this shit.
So yeah, this guy, honestly, he's worse than what I thought he was. Because we always said, you know, we see him go crazy on camera and shit, like what happens behind closed doors. But after reading this shit, I mean, I don't see him ever coming out of prison.
And so what we saw from Wes Watson, as I often say, it was just the tip of the iceberg. You saw perhaps 10% of what this man is really like. And now that you've seen all of it, what is your opinion? I mean, most people already knew he was a piece of shit. Some people actually defended this man. Is there any man or woman, for that matter, that doesn't believe that Wes Watson should be imprisoned for the rest of his life? We need to get more forceful with violent criminals and put them behind bars forever.
We're here on 5 counts, Mr. Watson.
He had his own personal employees threatening her. He had his own personal employees oversee her to see what she was doing on the phone, Your Honor. I think there's even made reference to the victim that she effectively felt that she was being held hostage. Your Honor, this is not the first or second time that violence has been alleged against Mr. Watson.
And so imagine being the judge and hearing all of this. The list of injuries, what he did, what he forced her to undergo, and thinking, yeah, you know, I'll give him bail, $115,000, and then he can go out and do all the things he threatened. It makes no sense. I don't know if the laws are different in the United States, in Florida versus Canada, but the same shit happens here in Canada. Violent criminals, they do a crime, they let them out. They do it again, they let them out. It needs to be one strike and you're done. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm, like the video if you liked it, and until next time, I'm out.